Hello and welcome to the channel. My name's Michael and this is my indie publishing adventure. Today we'll be talking about everything that goes in your book, so in between the front page and the back page that's not your manuscript. So this is everything from your copyright page, your dedication, your about the author, acknowledgements, all these little bits that seem like kind of really small and insignificant, but can really take your book from just looking like another indie book to a really professional book, especially if when you're looking at things like paperbacks and hardbacks. This is what's really going to just make it fit right on that shelf when like someone picks it up in a bookstore or just anyway, they get it, they flick through it and they go, yeah, this is what I expect from any sort of book, not just an indie book. So without further ado, let's get into it. So the first thing when you open the page, the first thing that someone's going to want to see is a title page. This will just be the title of your book, maybe your name, maybe you pop your website in there, but that's it. And I'll show an example of an author here, and you'll see that, yeah, you'll find this in most books. The very next thing you're going to see is a copyright page. Now, this might just look like a load of legal jargon mumbo jumbo, but don't worry, you don't have to memorize this or type it all up. There are helpful tools online. You can download templates. I use Reedsy, so I mean I'm just kind of sounding like a broken record here, but I use Reedsy for a lot of things. It's a fantastic resource. They've got a template on there. It's free to use. You just pop the information in and it'll generate most of your copyright page. You just need to pop in your ISBN number, your ISIN number if you're using the pre kind of non-bought ones that Amazon provide. You can pop in your editor here, your cover design artist, anyone else that you've kind of worked with throughout the process. You can just throw their names in here, and yeah, that'll just get your book just looking that bit more professional, and just kind of any would-be fraudsters who might be thinking of plagiarising your work, just giving them a reminder that you do have the copyright to your book, and to, back off. On the next page, you normally see like a dedicated to page. This only needs to be a few words. It might just say for mum and dad or something along those lines. But again, not really important, but it's what makes a difference in making this look like any other book that you would find in the bookstore. Now this is different to an acknowledgements page where you're going to kind of list off everyone who supported you and helped you. This is just who you would like to take a moment to just say, this one's for you. It might, as I say, just be your mum and dad. It might be someone who's inspired you. It might be someone who the book's based on. But just giving them that nod here, and then you go into more detail later on. After that, if you're a fantasy author or a sci-fantasy author or a romantasy author, then this might be your opportunity to put in your map. Fantasy readers love a map. Fantasy writers love a map. I'm always kind of referring back to mine and trying to work out how long would it take for my character to get from A to B, that kind of thing. Imagine reading Game of Thrones again and not having those maps at the front. You'd just be absolutely lost. So if you're writing these sort of books, super important. Less important in like maybe a crime novel or something like that, but just something to think about at this point. Now you can use, again, Reedsy, Fiverr, other freelancers or other artists who will specialise in map design. If you don't know where to start, then I suggest you kind of just sketch something up and then approach one of these kind of pro map drawers for your fantasy work, just because they'll be able to tell you like where the mountains are supposed to go, where the rivers are supposed to go. I know it's a fantasy world, but like kind of nature does have a few rules. And so, you might draw something and have, rivers running upstream for some reason or going in directions that they wouldn't go. And some people do pick up on that. So, yeah, it might be a way of approaching someone who does this kind of for a living. I've done a little bit of research on mine and kind of kept it basic and used all the skills that I'd acquired from my A-level art grade from 15 years ago, and drew up my own map, and then just approached a digital artist who I'd worked with before, on a couple of different advertising things for the book, and they were able to just digitalize it for me, and I was really pleased with how it come out, and so went ahead and used that. So yeah, just weigh up who you want to approach for that, but again, going into too much detail here for something that you might not even need to use. But that goes in here. And then the final piece is something I discussed in my last video around formatting, which is the table of contents. So just your contents table, chapter 1, chapter 2, all that, all the page numbers. This is very optional. Not everyone uses it anymore. I can pick up 10 books off my bookshelf where it hasn't been used and 10 books where it has. So it's definitely an optional thing, but something that was kind of used a bit more regularly a long time ago. I don't have one in my book, decided against it. So totally up to you. But that's everything that needs to go in the front of that book. At the end of the book, then you've got a couple more things. So you'll normally see acknowledgements here. Now think of this as your Oscar speech. You've won the Oscar and you're thanking everyone who's helped out. So you're thanking your beta readers, you're thanking the people who supported you throughout the book. If you've wrote a non-fiction book, then you're talking about the people who helped you with the research. You're thanking your editor, you're thanking your cover design artist again. You're just anyone who's been supportive of the book and really kind of helped you get it over the line. This is your moment to kind of thank them, and just be careful you don't forget anyone, because you always see actors who maybe forget to thank the director or the co-star, and then there's all the rumours about, was there a falling out on set or something like that. So obviously that's a joke. I'm sure you haven't fallen out with your editor or anything, but yeah, this is the opportunity to kind of do it and thank them. The next thing is an about an author page. Is what it says on the tin. You don't have to go into too much detail here and tell your whole life story. The story that people wanted to read was the one that you've just written, not this one. But just putting a little bit of information about yourself, just something that people can connect with, and just like say, oh, okay, so we're from the same part of the world, or I didn't know he was from there. Just giving them an opportunity to just connect with you that little bit more. Not through the kind of words, but just putting a bit of meat on the bone, not just those two, that name at the front of the book, the first and second name at the front of the book. So yeah, a little bit of information there. And then lastly, you can use this as an opportunity if you're really proactive and you've already started writing your second, like your sequel or whatever, your next book, then you can pop a little preview at the end here, whether it's a synopsis, a sample chapter, a previous book you've wrote, just kind of throwing it back and saying here's some work that I've done previously. You can pop this at the end as well, but again, that's optional. But yeah, that's about everything. These little things is what takes your book from just kind of going from another indie book to something that looks professional and something that you would flick through in a bookstore and wouldn't tell the difference between a traditional and an indie book. So a little bit of kind of, is it necessary? But yeah, it is. If you want it to be professional, then you want to take these steps. Plenty more coming from me down the line. I had a comment on a video recently around how to upload to KDP and Ingram Spark. So I'll do a video on that. Similar to how I done the formatting video, I'll do it live and just kind of walk you through it. Hopefully they shouldn't be too long of videos, because it is quite simple to do. And then after that, we'll talk about how to do ARC reviews, get ARC reviews and advanced reader copies of your book out, and setting up pre-orders and things like that. So we're getting really close to publication now. My book comes out on the 11th of April, and you can pre-order it in the description below if you're interested. It's The Lost Company. And yeah, just remember to like, subscribe to the channel, and follow me on X. I'll catch you next time.